because the wine was, the first evidences of wine were placed in Georgia, I told you last seminar, around 6,000 years before Christ. So wine is absolutely an ancient beverage, but they accepted, the futurist artists accepted wine because even though it was created by our ancestors, wine evolves every second, every minute. If you pour a glass, if you pour some wine into a glass, that wine will be evolving minute by minute. And this concept was one of the key points of the futurism. And it's very interesting to study also the futuristic point of view regarding pasta. They hated pasta. Why? First of all, because it was an ancient, an old food created many years before. And they hated pasta because if you have a full portion of pasta, most likely you feel like heavy. Well, so much depends on the ingredients of the sauce, but it's true that is if you don't do anything else, maybe you feel heavy. And so they say, oh, pasta is against movement. Pasta makes me sleep. And so we want to run, and we want to leave our revolution. And so pasta forbidden and wine accepted. So Fortunato De Pero was one of the artists of the futurism. He was born in Rovereto. And here we have some of the paintings by Fortunato De Pero that, if I'm not wrong, the exhibition of his paintings is still available. Stefano, c'è ancora? It's still, okay, so if you like these artists, you can go at the Soho Gallery, the Italian art gallery. CIMA.
Center for Italian Modern Art on Boom Street.
And it's still available, the exhibition of Fortunato De Pero. And also the futurists have been exhibited at Guggenheim Museum this past winter.
It's still on.
Still on? Okay. It's still on. So again, the futurism saved wine. Also, something very important, the futurism took place in Italy when Italy was living under the fascism regime. And in those years, Italy was protecting its economy. So only domestic wine and food and whatever could be used for, so it was so-called the moment of self-interest in order to protect the domestic economy of the nation. And so wine renews always, annually, monthly, daily, minute by minute. It's a dynamic beverage which contains the fuel man and the fuel engine. This is one, first of all, this is Fortunato De Pero, and this is one of the most famous painting from him. It's called Rights and Splendors in a Tavern. It's Ovelon Kamba, was created in 1944, and we have four male figures holding glasses of wine and also a bottle of wine. Here, this is Bacchus, the god Bacchus, the god of wine. Again, a reminiscence from the past. But what I like from Fortunato De Pero was his intervention on radio, on air, in 1934. And he was on air and he started talking about four thirsty mouths. So let's read what the first mouth says. I want a dry wine, lightly ruby red, transparent. So some people were listening on radio, this guy telling to the audience that he wanted a dry wine, lightly ruby red, transparent. So lightly ruby red, transparent, to me is a Pinot Noir. because the color is light and always transparent. Even Nebbiolo is transparent, but it's never ruby red. It's always garnet, even when it's very, very young. Approaching the glass to his lips, a scented word must slightly charming, preparatory wine, thin, spring. And what about the second mouth? The second mouth says, I want wine often, round, fleshy, nutritional, and full. A wine that tells me everything. A wine from the south, tanned, with a passionate voice. So maybe he was thinking of some wine, a red wine from Irpinia, from Campania. Maybe a wine made with Aglianico grape. Is a very ancient indigenous varietal grape whose former name was Ellenico because it came from Greece, Ellade. Ellenico at the very beginning has strong, or Aglianico, strong tannins, but then with the aging process becomes very round, full body. Just to give you an idea, with the Aglianico you have the red wine like Taurasi Riserva, all coming from Campania region and in the province, in the sub area of Irpinia. So we